Hello everyone, today we're working on lesson 8-10, playing array concentration. We're going to get started in box number 2, our math message. Drag the square desks into the box. Find at least 2 ways to put 12 desks in rows with the same number of desks in each row. The word row means a line. It means how we arrange objects in a line. So for example, here is one of our desks, and we're going to do an example together. I need to arrange 12 desks into rows with the same number of desks in each row. So by getting started, you can work on the screen, or you can draw a big box on your paper and just make little boxes to arrange your desks. So if I start here, I'm going to drag my desks into the box because I'm building my first row. And if I look here, I have built one row, a line. And there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my first row has 6 desks in the row. I didn't use all 12 desks yet, so I have to show how many desks I can put in the second row. So it shows that I've used all 12. Now, while I'm building my second row, try to figure out how many desks are going to be in that second row. And if you guess 6, you're correct. In my first row, I have 6 desks. In my second row, I have 6 desks. Both rows have the same amount of desks in each row. If I want to check to make sure that I used all 12, I'm going to add. My first row had 6 desks, and my second row has 6 desks. And we know that 6 plus 6 equals, that's right, very good, 12. Now what you're going to do is you're going to think of other ways to show how we can organize and arrange those 12 desks into rows. Will your 12 desks be in rows more than 2? It's up to you. Just remember that you only have 12 desks, and each row has to have the same number of desks in each row. And the total number together will equal 12. So when you look here, remember this is my first row with 6 desks, and here's my second row with 6 desks. Now it's up to you to create how you are going to arrange those 12 desks. How will you arrange them in rows with the same number of desks in each row? If you're working on this screen, you can press this arrow and it will save your work. And we're going to go on to number 3, which is called arranging desks. Now, when we come to this screen, it's going to have a link over here. And when we click on it, we should see the same screen that we just worked on together. If you would like, you should keep this screen up to use as a visual to remind you that you're working with only 12 desks, and you're going to see how you could arrange them into rows. This is one example that we came up with together. Now it's up to you to be creative and show how you are going to arrange those 12 desks into rows. Keep this screen up and you use it to go back and forth as a visual, because it would also remind you to make sure to put your number sentence at the bottom. Good luck. Moving on We're going to go to box number 4, discussing the array cards. Now, the word array is a new vocabulary word, and an array means how we arrange objects into rows. I want you to think of an egg carton. When you open an egg carton, there's 2 rows, and each row has 6 eggs in each row. So if row 1 has 6 eggs and row 2 has 6 eggs, we know that 6 plus 6 equals 12. Also, sometimes when people go to the store, they buy cans of soda. When you buy a pack of soda cans, there's usually 3 cans of soda in each of the rows, and there's usually only 2 rows. So if you can imagine a pack of soda, 2 rows with 3 cans in each row, then we know 3 plus 3 equals 6. Something else that you might be able to find is when you open the freezer, you have an ice cube tray. The ice cube trays are in rows. Now, some ice cube trays only have 8 spaces or 6 spaces or 10 spaces to fill each row up with to put the water in to make ice. So you have to count how many spaces there are on your ice cube tray. But nonetheless, each ice cube tray, let's pretend there's 2 rows and there's 5 spots in each row to pour the water in to make ice. So the first row has 5 and the second row has 5. So we know that 5 plus 5 equals 10. So there's 2 rows of 5 on the ice cube tray that I have. So that means I will have 10 ice cubes when the water freezes. Looking back to the screen, we can press this button here, and we see there's array number cards. And if you drag the cards to the screen, you can shuffle them. And let's deal. So the card that I have says a 2 by 3. I want you to look at the card. What do you see? Do you notice how the dots are arranged? This is an example of an array, how the rows are arranged, how the dots are arranged. At the bottom of the card says 2 by 3. So I wonder, where did they get those numbers from? Do you see what I see on the card? Let's look at the number 2. Well, I see that there's 2 rows. Here's the first row, and here's the second row. So that's where the number 2 comes into play. Then it says by 3. 3, where did they get 3 from? That's right. There's 3 dots in each row. So there's 2 rows, 1, 2, and there's 3 dots in each row, which makes it 2 rows by 3, 3 dots in each row. So I know that 3 plus 3 equals 6. You can continue with this screen by resetting it, shuffling, and dealing, and you'll get a new card. You can also save it with this arrow. Moving ahead, we're going to go to array concentration number 5. And you can either print this sheet, you can work on this sheet on the screen, or you can just write these columns onto a piece of paper, and it says number card, array card, picture of array, or number model. Here you see the number card that was picked was the number 4. It's a 2 by 2 array, which the picture here is 2 in each row. There's 2 rows with 2 in each row. And that number model would be 2 plus 2 equals 4. If you go up here and you change the screen, you will see that I put some numbers up here. These are different examples that if you went right here to this symbol and you click the array cards and you drag them in here, you're going to either get a number or you're going to get what the array looks like. And you're going to go back and you're going to record that onto the sheet. So if, for example, we saw that there was the number 8. So we're going to write the number 8 in here. And on a piece of paper, challenge yourself. What would that 8 look like? How would you make it look like a picture of the array? What would the array card say? Blank by blank. And then finally, what would the number model say? If you get another card instead of just being the number, and if it says a 1 by 5, that's okay too, because you go back to the screen and you would just put the 1 by 5 here and then work out the other boxes. You also can save your work by pressing this, but remember that you have to change the screens. And each time you deal a card, follow what it says to do. We have subtraction problems, which you can work on. We also have math boxes and a home link. And finally, we have an array bingo. Now, array bingo is, you can play this with yourself, or you can play with somebody at home with you, or somebody who's there with you. So you're going to take cards 1 to 10. And if you don't have cards 1 to 10, maybe in another math lesson, you wrote cards out on scrap pieces of paper or squares, and you're going to use the numbers 1 to 10. And you're going to make that as a pile. You're also going to make some array concentration cards, which look like this with the dots and the number of rows and how many in each row. And once you pick the number, you're going to have to find that array. So here you can see the boy in the picture picked the number 6, and the girl is going to find that array, and she did. She found 2 by 3 is 6 because 3 plus 3 equals 6. If you have cards, that's great. If not, you can make them on paper, and whoever has the most cards at the end wins. If you want to change the rules around a little bit, that's okay, because you're just matching the array to the number card.